Tell me about Craig Smith.
I've always thought of, and we've talked about this before too, about between the two of us, I've been the one that was like the bulldozer, just wanting to move forward and do new things and always millions of ideas. And Grandpa's dad, what am I supposed to call you in this context? Craig is the one that comes after and makes things happen, that smooths things out, and that he's the sounding board for me. Lots of times I have ideas and they're not terribly realistic. He's the one that's realistic about things. And sometimes we've thought that that's been hurtful, because I get ideas and then he'll poke holes in them, and I was like, what? And then I found out that through kind of this energy typing and stuff like that, just finding out different things, that's his personality kind of, and that's what he does. He doesn't mean to hurt my feelings or anything. And so I would describe him as being realistic and wise. He doesn't just talk to talk. In fact, sometimes he doesn't talk very much. Depends. But he'll talk. When he talks, it's important. And I know our children respect him for that and go to him for counsel, because he has wise counsel. He's very loyal to the Lord. That's one of the first things I noticed about him when I first met him, because I asked him what he was going to do with his life. It was right after he got home from his mission. And he said, well, whatever the Lord wants me to do. And I remember thinking, don't you have any ideas about what you want to do? He was willing to ask for the inspiration about what he was supposed to do with his life, and he's never wavered from that kind of spirituality all the time I've ever since. He's the one that he's always diligent with his scripture reading and his studying the gospel. And I know sometimes in some families, it's the woman that has to have prayers and stuff, but and I do sometimes, but he's always been faithful at having our family prayer and being supportive of family home evenings and all those kinds of things. And he is creative. He likes to cook different things. He likes to cook, and we eat differently. He when he serves his plate, he has his potatoes and his meat and his vegetables and his salad, and that's how he eats them. And he's very concise about how he eats. And I won't say what I'm like. He'll probably tell you what I'm like. Let's see. I would say he's very aware of the needs of others. When I'm doing a project or something, I tend to forge ahead and not think too much about how many things I'm running into along the way, but he's always, and he's been really good for me that way, because he's reminding me of, no, you need to remember, watch out, you're going to run into somebody, or you're going to tread on somebody's toes this way. You need to watch that. So he's been a good reminder of that. He's very, very loving and considerate and kind. Very kind. I don't think I've ever met a kinder man than my husband. And that has been a huge blessing in my life. He's been, and we've learned, I think he's learned too about caring about my feelings. When we first got married, there was sometimes when I felt that when I'd get hurt or something, he'd say, "You gonna live?" And I was like, ah! But since we've learned how to express our feelings to each other, he never says that anymore. He's always been very kind and solicitous, like when I'm not feeling well, which is often, and he'll go do the dishes or make dinner when I just don't feel like it, and all kinds of little things. He picks up the pieces after me, and takes wonderful care of me. It's always make sure the car works, and just like my dad. My dad was like that, and he's very much like that in those ways. How long do you want me to talk?
My turn.
That's great. No, yeah. Go for it, Grandpa. Well, tell me about Colleen Smith.
Colleen Smith. Well, she doesn't give herself enough credit. She says that I'm kind, but she's really the one that's kind. And she's the one that the grandchildren come and sit on her lap and feel at home and comfortable with, because she really cares for them and they can feel that. And so she's had, I would say, much more compassion, whereas she mentions that I'm more maybe the analytical one, and I like to see the holes in things and why it won't work instead of why it will work. And that's where her strengths are, I think, in the people part of it, respecting people, and they can feel that, and they love to come to Grandma's house. It's not Grandpa's house, it's Grandma's house. And I understand that, and I'm glad for that. We come from, Stephanie, a line of the Billingsleys, who are a very quiet group. My dad would tell me that when he was working with the Billingsleys up in when they had a sawmill up in the mountains, up by Castle up there, and he would say that after work, all the Billingsleys men would go out and sit, and they'd sit for a half hour and nobody'd say a word. And that's kind of the stock we come from. And so expressing our feelings, my feelings, have been more difficult, and Grandma's helped me with that a lot, and being able to do that and share. And so I couldn't ask for a more loyal and supportive friend and companion, and she has supported me through all of our things that didn't go as we had planned, but we've come through it, and it's been wonderful to work together. I think the only times that we've really had any disagreements of any of a boisterous nature was when we were working with goats. I just didn't have the patience that she did in working with them, and we would kind of
Yell.
I guess we would say we'd yell at each other, but not very loud, but we did. But that's more of my fault than hers, and she had much more compassion even for the goats than I did. They were an animal and they needed to do what they're supposed to, and I didn't have the patience with them. And with the children as well, a lot of times they could come and talk to their mother more than they could come and talk to me. But as far as someone that loves the Lord with all their heart, Grandma is that person. She is very obedient, exactly obedient. And I think of her personality conforming more to the sons of Helaman than mine would. She is an exactly obedient person, and loves the Lord with all her heart, and loves our family. And they can feel that. Very compassionate, very loving, very kind. She loves to do new things, and I'm more of a traditionalist than Grandma. She likes to put new curtains in and wants to move the couches, and I would just be content to stay with everything the way it is. So anyway, that's a little bit about Grandma that I love, and that attracted me to her. Even from the first day I met her at the airport when we came home from our missions.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Does it make you feel warm and fuzzy inside to do that? Tell me all the good things about it. Do you think like your relationship has like changed since you've been retired? Like what kind of things have you had to adjust to, and I
think she's had to adjust to having me around all the time. it was fortunate when I first retired. Well, Grandma decided to retire at the same time from piano teaching, and but we had some good projects, and so I wasn't underfoot all of the time, and we kind of worked together on them. But it also gave me some purpose every day, and that was important, I think, and it's given us an idea of the reason, and that's one of the reasons we've, besides health reasons, why we've decided to serve a mission. And that's in our goals for the future, is hopefully, if things work out right, that we'll be able to go on a full-time mission together. But this is a good thing to be participating in the meantime, to be service missionaries.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been a wonderful experience to do that.
Yeah.
In a way, before Grandpa had this job here for the past, 7 years?
7 or 8 years.
Before that, he worked from home a fair amount with consulting jobs and that. So he was home, but he was busy in the office, or So we have been together a lot over the years because he's done a lot of that kind of work. But it has been different since we've both been home. But it's been very comfortable. He keeps himself busy, and I keep myself busy, and we touch base periodically throughout the day and do things together in the evening, and it's been really neat. And then, of course, serving a mission together has been a way that has pulled us together. We have common things to talk about and plan and work toward, and it's been great. I quite love retirement. Yeah.
It's been good. We didn't know really what to expect, but it has worked out well.
Yeah.
We got to go to Hawaii first, so that was fun.
Could get off right. That's good. So yeah, I guess we can jump into some of the other interview questions. Like, I don't know, what do you have any fears for the future or for right now, or do you what are the things that you worry about?
We used to worry about money a lot, but we don't anymore because we've got a pretty good base that we've established for retirement. And so that's not one of the real fears. I guess one of the biggest concerns, I don't know if it was a fear as much as a concern, was of course health. And we had plans we had originally wanted to put our papers in for an African mission. We had wanted to specify that. But then I had a few of the health problems, and that wasn't possible at this point in time. And so I guess a concern is going forward, are we going to have the health to do the things we really want to do? So I think one thing we've tried to learn and are learning is to make every day count. Every day is a new day and a new opportunity. And you can't always be saying, I'm going to be happy when we get to be able to serve a full-time mission. We can enjoy what we have now. So I don't know if that's kind of what your thinking is.
I think the fear that always kind of in the back of your mind is always how long you're going to be able to be together. Because you get to be the age where lots of people die. And lots of people who their companions have gone ahead. And so it's always, not always in your mind or anything, but for me it is, as I think of what's it going to be like if Dad goes first, being a widow and having to do all of these things that he does now that I have to do. That's kind of a worry. I don't worry about it, but it's kind of there, and so we try to plan and say, if this happens, what are we going to do, so that I'm prepared, or he's prepared. He's sure I'm going to go, or that he's going to go first, and I. You always hope it's the other way around, but anyway, I think another concern we have, that I think we both have, is, you always still worry about your children. Some of them are they're all at different places on their journey, and you just hope and pray that they'll continue moving forward and progressing, and that we can achieve our goal of an eternal family, and that our grandchildren can be taught the gospel and all those kind of things. You always, it's always in your mind, and continually praying for our grandchildren and our children in all of their endeavors. Everybody has different challenges, every one of them, we all do. So I think I think when you're young, you think once you get older and your kids are grown up, everything's fine, you know, but you never stop worrying about them or hoping and praying for them and agonizing with them as they go through their trials and all this kind of thing. Like when you went through your math course, you know, we agonized with you in our prayers. And anyway, so that's, but other than that, I find retirement is it's kind of, it's not really a plateau in the sense that I think we're still growing, but a lot of things aren't as nerve-wracking or as scary as they used to be, you know. With my teaching, I loved to teach, but I was always having to gear up for it, and it was nerve-wracking in a way, you know. And I don't do that anymore, so we have a fun job in primary teaching the singing, and Grandpa teaches high priests once a month or a couple of times a month, and enjoys it. You know, it's just, I don't know, it's just a more relaxed lifestyle, and I'm quite enjoying it. And I think we're blessed with health to be able to do that, because, you know, if we felt awful all the time, that would be a lot more difficult, and you would worry a lot more. So, but
Yeah. Those are good answers. So I guess on the flip side, what are the things that you're excited about? You mentioned a mission, but like even just like everyday things that what do you look forward to? What are the things that make you really excited about life right now?
that's a good question, because there was a period of time when I thought, so what's next? You know, what can I be? What should I be excited about? And that's why I started revamping the front room. Because in a way, you think, well, let's see, we're on a mission, we're doing that, so we're not going to be traveling much in the next little while because we're on the mission, because I like to travel. Grandpa likes to stay home more than I do.
I don't mind going traveling, I just like to come home too. Home is where we like to be.
Yeah, that's right. And where was I going with this one? Forgot my train of thought. Excited about, yeah. So I sat down, and somebody challenged us to write down 100, maybe it was your mom, I think it was her, 100 things that you want to do in your life or something like that. So I started making my list, and that was kind of fun, because it kind of started me thinking, because I think it's easy at this age to think, well, I can't do this, and I can't do this, and I can't do this, and I can't, you know, anymore, because you're just past that age, you know. I'm never going to run a marathon, you know, or I'm never going to be able to hike the East Coast Trail. I always thought I wanted to, you know, and maybe I will still, but there's certain things that you just kind of think, so it's important, I think, and that list helped me to start thinking of things that, maybe there was things I could get excited about still and do. Like, we started reading the Doctrine and Covenants in French, because we wanted to learn French just in case we went on a mission to Quebec, for instance, or to the Maritimes, because we might be in Canada. And that was fun. We've kind of slacked off a little bit with that one, but we read quite a bit of it, and we'll probably do it again. And I like languages. I'd love to learn to speak French, because Grandpa's dad speaks
A little bit.
Speaks French.
Not as much as I used to.
What are you excited about?
I don't know if you use the word excited, but life is, I'm very content with where I'm at. Each day we kind of have a routine. We get up, we do some exercising, we study our scriptures and study other things and read good books. I just barely finished reading Les Miserables. I started it years ago and got to page 500 and decided I don't want to do this, but I decided, well, I'm going to finish it. And the other day I finished it. So
you started over again and read the whole
I read
thing?
it right back from the first. And so just, I think it's important to have little goals that you're setting as you get older that you work on, whether we get ourselves really involved in family history, or if we decide to work in the temple, or continue serving this mission for another 2 or 3 years, whatever comes. But I think it's important to find happiness and be content, and not always think that there's something else down the road at this stage in our lives. But we want to see new things. We still like to travel and like to do some of those things, and that gets us excited, I guess, about some things in life. But mostly it's focused around family, and we rejoice in the accomplishments of our grandchildren and our children. And we pray for those that are struggling as well and have their issues and challenges, but are learning to respect their agency and their choices, and find joy in them, even though they may not agree with what we feel and believe as well. So those are, I think, mostly it. Looking forward to continuing to have the association with family, and do some other things that you can look forward to. It seems like we need something to look forward to. And
Like our trip to Saskatchewan.
yeah, we're going to go to Saskatchewan in April, so if that
Just
can
for
be
a
an
little break.
exciting.
And I was just thinking about when you're talking about family, this I've tried to go through all of our family pictures, and you know that disc that I gave all the families at Christmas time. So we got all of that. Now my next project is to go and put them into blurb books and put comments on lots of them, as many as I can remember, because it's lots more fun to look through it when there's a comment about it, so you know what it is. And so anyway, so that's something that I'm excited about doing, because when I did that book for Natasha, and that was really fun, and I think it was a valuable thing for her. I've noticed that she refers to it a lot, you know, like she was doing here the other day, and so I think and our personal histories, we're both working on our personal histories, and I want to get them, I've got mine written up till Viking, so I'm just working on going through all my journals and getting that up to date, and then I want to put it with pictures and then publish it and give it to the kids, you know. So it is kind of everything. Family becomes even more important as you get older, I think, you know. And we've been blessed with a wonderful family.
Yeah, we really have been. You have been. We all have been blessed with that. I guess, yeah, just like, and Grandpa touched on it a little bit, but what are your like daily routines right now? Like, what are the things that you do every day, or the things that you like to do, or things you
On my good days,
sometimes don't do?
on my good days, we get up like that's exercise, and we have a rebounder. We have a weight room downstairs, so exercise room, I should say, and we have a rebounder.
I think one thing that's been a part of our daily routine as of late is helping Great-Grandma and Grandpa Smith in their needs. And even though it's challenging at times, it's fulfilling to help them in a time when they can't do everything. We have our ideas of what we would like to see happen for them, but it doesn't always coincide with what their feelings are. So that's given us an opportunity to develop a deeper respect for them and for others, and not thinking that we can impose our will on them. And but opportunity to check in on them every day and serve them every day, and get their mail, get their paper for them, and
The scraps and the garbages, and
yeah, and then take them to their doctor's appointments and things like that. That's taken up a fair amount of our last year since Grandpa had his heart attack.
yeah.
So that's one thing that gives us purpose every day too.
Yeah, maybe describe how close they live and that
They
can
live
affect your
just
relationship.
a quarter of a mile from where we live, and they live right on the highway, and so there's always concerns that they have about their safety and security, and making sure everything's the way it needs to be for them to be safe and to be able to enjoy a quality of life as much as they can at this stage in their life. So yeah, they're just just east of us on an acreage, and love to be close to them and try to help them as well. At this point in time, we can see that there'll be changes that have to come going forward, but for now, for the next few months anyway, we can enjoy that.
Yeah.
And one thing as far as daily routine is that I nap every afternoon, unashamedly. I found a little kid's book once. It was about napping, and it was the cutest book, and it was napping unashamedly. And I don't, sometimes when I'm not feeling well, I'll nap for an hour or two, but sometimes just half an hour just gives me the energy to get going again. And I've done that for quite a while now, and it's kind of a habit, and I kind of like it.
And with retirement, if you don't quite feel like doing that project that you thought you were going to get to today, well, there's always tomorrow.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's not the same. Like sometimes you forget what day it is because the days are, kind of the same things most days, except for your mission and going to the temple, and you do all those things. But anyway, there's never a dull moment, really.
Oh.
You seem to find things to, there's still washing and cooking and meals, although my husband cooks meals fairly well, once in a while.
No, not too often, but that's okay too.
But especially breakfast. Because I'm usually still exercising, he'll come up, because he got down there first. Because he doesn't sleep well. And so he's always up early, and we'll go down and exercise, and then I come down, and then I'm still exercising, so he'll come up and make breakfast. And I was like, okay, I'll take it. So there's always, what else do we do as a regular thing?
Sounds like we got it.
Yeah,
You got it. Awesome.
it's a great life,
Yeah.
great family. We're blessed. The Lord's blessed us immensely.